Aloha, good afternoon. I'm Mac Lumen. This is Boo Boo, running for governor. We're up on Roundtop this afternoon. I have to drive to places where I don't have to walk because I got this cast on my foot for a couple more weeks. I had a surgery 3 months ago from a basketball injury 30 years ago. Okay, I wanted to talk about some of the things we've talked about. Well, first of all, I want to say that I do not really edit these videos. I clip the front and the back and pretty much just put them out there. I don't review them. I don't look at them, so they could be a little messed up. They're not perfect, but I try to get my point across. And number one point, as you've probably figured out, is gardening, growing food, is imperative. We need to start doing that. We need to think about dirt. We need to learn about dirt, soil, composting, planting. We need to learn about seeds. We need to learn about growing and harvesting. And we need to learn about canning, putting food up or drying food, somehow preserving food. We need to have more food sources that we can rely on here and not importing from the mainland, because we're in a crisis. We're in a critical tipping point. The world is, with climate change and also with population growth and expansion. I believe it's why, a big part of the reason why we're having trouble, why Russia's invading Ukraine, why China wants to move into Taiwan. They need more land, they need more resources to survive. And we're going to see more of that in the future. We're going to see more diseases. I just heard where 87% of the population of the United States claims to have long-term COVID implications going on. You know, disease is partly the disease is caused partly by population crowding into the forest and jungles and breaking into areas that we shouldn't be in. Okay, so agriculture. Then, as you know, cleaning up the island is another big issue for me. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and it's better for us to be next to godliness. So cleaning up the islands, we all feel better, like when you have your car washed, or your living room vacuumed and cleaned, or your bed made. It always makes you feel better than when it's a mess. And these islands, kind of turning into trash holes. There's garbage everywhere. So one of my plans is to take Saturday mornings, different parts of the island, get committees, get groups organized, and close off some of the highways, H1, H2, Kamehameha, Farrington, and pick up garbage. That will be ongoing for maybe a year, but we need to clean up this place. So the gardening, and then also with gardening includes fruit trees. We need to plant fruit trees. Everybody that has property should plant at least 2, 3, or 4 fruit trees on your property. And again, learning to preserve fruits and vegetables is also extremely important. So I keep saying this because it's crucial. We need to do it, and if I'm governor, I will do everything in my power to make that happen, even providing subsidies or bringing in soil. I have friends that make soil. They say bringing in soil is not a good idea, but you can make soil, composting, green vegetation. There's some inexpensive composting units you can buy on Amazon and other places, and we should be doing that. So composting, within a couple of months you have soil in your compost. Your compost turns into soil. What else? Oh, also cemeteries. I want to fix up the cemeteries. Some of them are in total disrepair. Tombstones falling over. I don't know why the land is so uneven, but somehow we need to improve on many of these old cemeteries. These are our ancestors. Whether they're native Hawaiian or not, they are still ancestors who lived here, who loved, who grew up, and who worked hard and died. And we need to take care of them. Okay, so agriculture, including fruit trees and garden boxes and cemeteries, cleaning up the highways, cleaning up the roads, cleaning up the garbage from everywhere, the parks included. I was just in Kapolei this morning at a park, and that you can't take 2 steps without saying caps, bottle caps, paper wrappers, gum wrappers, candy wrappers, other kind of paraphernalia on the ground. It's really a shame. We need to clean this place up. Okay, so then we have the roads, the speeding. These people were driving way too fast. I think I mentioned I got passed by a garbage truck. I was doing 65 on the H1, 65 or a little more, and I got passed by a garbage truck. These heavy vehicles driving high speeds break up the highways. We need to all slow down a little bit. There's too many fatalities on these islands. So if I'm governor, I'm going to be issuing big tickets for big speeds like that. Okay, so what else do I want to say? Okay, I was in Kapolei this morning. I was by the park, across from the library, and there seemed to be a fire drill for the grade school, and one group was aged like kindergarten through 3rd, 4th grade. There was 100 or more, and then on the other side of the library, at the next intersection, I guess that'd be south, older kids like 4th through 6th grade, 7th grade, and all these children walking in a line, orderly, being good students, good children. They're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful, and they're absolutely innocent. They don't know what's happening in the world. They don't see it like parents do. They're like my dog Boo Boo here. He's innocent of all that's happening in the world, and we need to do something for them. We need to make the world a better place for them, and one of the ways is to avoid chaos. That's why I want the islands fixed up. That's why I want a food supply here, so we can avoid chaos, because if it came to a stop suddenly, there would be absolute chaos here. We can't fish enough or can't eat enough vegetation to survive. Together we survive, divided we fall. Together we survive, divided we fall. Priorities. Preserve all farmlands. That's another thing. I see houses going up on farmlands, housing developments. That's a shame. We need to preserve the little bit of farmland these islands have. Creating farming communities. I've seen this in other countries where there'll be several households in the middle of 100 acres divided up by 10, 20 acre parcels for each family, and then they all share in equipment, tractors and harvesting machinery. But also other kind of communities, gardening communities. I've seen yoga gardening communities. I think those are great, where people work together and they have a yoga community and they practice yoga, spiritual teaching basically, and do gardening. So I also invest in food technologies. That's crucial. I mean, the university here is working with farmers. Farmers are stressed, and so they're doing research on how to relieve farmers of their stress, make their life easier or more accommodating. And there's also people at UH doing research on the soil here too. So you can touch base with these groups and get more information. So protect the aquifers. We need to protect the water here. I'm glad to see Red Hill is removing the gas tanks. But we need to create a participatory unicameral government. I do not like the political system, what it's turned into with Republicans and Democrats, both fighting each other for no other reason that one's a Democrat and the other's Republicans, even if they're good issues that they both know are worthy and need to be implemented. Well, you know what's going on. I'm tired of it, and I think it's wrong, and I also have a real issue with all the Congress people investing in the stock market. I think that, well, that's fair, but it isn't fair. It's a form of inside trading, and it's basically corruption, and leads to corruption. It should stop, and that's why I prefer, if at all possible, for us to become an independent nation. If we don't, we still can be worked to get as close to that as we can, and still be a state, and still be a separate, try to become a separate entity. But as a nation, I believe we can be of greater service to the world, to ourselves, to the United States, and to the world. So that's my argument. If it turns out everybody agrees with that, I will pursue it till the very end. It's one thing I do. I pursue things, and I don't give up. One school system, Kamehameha Public Schools, K1 through K16. At K12, you can decide to go to a community college or a trade school or a university, but it'll be free, public schools. Expand and demonstrate cultural sharing. So one idea is just to have programs presented by different communities, and to have community events more frequently for different cultures. Expand, emphasize, and demonstrate gender respect. You all kind of have an idea what I mean by that. Minimum guarantee incomes for everyone. UBI, universal basic incomes. They're doing it in some countries. They're starting out slowly in some countries. In Alaska, they have something like that, where everybody gets a few $100s at the end of the year. But it needs to grow to a point where people have an income to survive on, minimum survival. Because with AI, technology that's happening, we're going to lose jobs. We're going to lose like 30% of the jobs in the next 10 years because of artificial intelligence. Practice yoga, satya, which is cleanliness, inwardly, outwardly, personal, and statewide. Again, we need to pick up the garbage. Okay. The only private schools I would like to see would be like religious schools, or if people wanted to get together and have 2 or 3, I don't know, we'd have to set a limit on the number of children and do homeschooling with 2 or 3 different families getting together. That's all okay, but I do not like these elitist schools that separate people, that make some people, children, feel less than, and others feel better than. It doesn't help us as a community. We need to come together. In order to survive into the future on these islands, we need to come together. I would also like to see some old traditional trades being done, like boat building, sailboats. Somehow we need to be in a position where we don't need technology to survive. Use it as long as we can. But we don't need it. We need it, but there might come a point where we don't need it. Enough said. Thank you for watching.